5-year-old Kyler Jackson, he's a very smart little boy from South Bend, Indiana. Every morning, his father, Derek Jackson, he rushed home after working third shift to make sure that he was there to take Kyler to daycare. During that ride every morning, Derek would give his son pep talks, instilling confidence in him, motivating him to stay focused. And while Derek was motivating Kyler, he was also encouraging himself. Derek, along with Kyler's mother, Kaylin Davison, they received exciting news that Kyler was accepted into the Kennedy Academy, getting ready to start school in the fall. And Kyler just so happy about it. On Saturday, April 30th, 2022, that night while working the third shift, Derek got a gut-wrenching call. It was about Kyler. The 5-year-old was at a relative's house for the night. His 9-year-old cousin got a hold of a weapon, accidentally fired it, striking Kyler. Officers responded about 10:30 p.m. where they found Kyler in critical condition and rushed him to the hospital. His mother, Kaylin, devastated. Derek, his father, devastated. They didn't understand what happened. Kyler held on for a few days until the parents had to make the decision to take him off life support. They made that tough decision after midnight on Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. It had been roughly 72 hours that Kyler was at the hospital in critical condition. South Bend police released a statement calling the incident accidental, but they are still investigating the events that led up to the incident and said his 9-year-old cousin is traumatized and struggling to cope with what happened.
57 News at 6, everyone. I'm Brian Conybear. The little boy accidentally shot by a 9-year-old losing his life today. South Bend police confirming 5-year-old Kyler Nowlin Jackson passed away early this morning at the hospital. The 9-year-old relative somehow getting a hold of a loaded gun and pulling the trigger Saturday night. ABC 57's Naja Woods is live near the Kennedy Academy in South Bend with a story you'll see only here on ABC 57 News tonight. Naja?
Brian, that heartbroken father devastated by the loss of his young son accidentally shot and killed by another child, and his father telling me Kyler just got accepted into Kennedy Academy, something he was so proud of.
The man was a mathematical genius, man. He was excited when he got accepted to Kennedy, and all he wanted to do was prove that he was smart. That's it, prove that he was smart. If you knew him, everybody loved him. He was everybody's baby. My baby, he was special. He was special.
Heartbroken father Derek Jackson tearing up as he remembers his son Kyler Jackson, who would have been attending Kennedy Academy next year.
How old are you?
5.
How you know?
Have I a junior?
After work in the morning, third shift in the morning, rush home to drop him off in the morning to daycare. I miss that the most. Wherever motivation speaks. Son, focus. I miss that.
Jackson says his son was at a relative's house when he got the life-changing call at work.
I don't know what happened. I was at work, so I'm not blaming. I just don't know. I was at work doing what I do. I don't know. Just let the people do what they do, the professionals. We don't, have no guns. My scariest, dealing with kids and teaching kids and coaching, we don't have guns in the house, because that was one of my biggest fears, is that kids be playing and, that happens. So take the precautionary steps to have the guns. So if you want the guns, it's okay. Just take the precautionary steps to have them. Be an adult. And I don't know what happened in this situation, because I don't know what happened.
Very horrible situation. If you're from the South Bend area, Indiana, definitely let me know below. I want to hear from you. Kyler was laid to rest, his mother and father supported by family and friends, the community. A few days later, the story took another turn. 32-year-old Kaylin Davison, that's Kyler's mother, walked into a restaurant where she got into an argument with a 26-year-old woman identified as Kimmery Wright. Surveillance video showed Kaylin entering the restaurant. She approached Kimmery and hit her. Kimmery pulled out a gun, and Kaylin, along with the other patrons, started running out of the building. Kimmery jumped up and followed Kaylin to the exit of the restaurant, where she fired multiple shots. And not just at Kaylin, but according to authorities, she ended up firing into the crowd. That's before she walked back into the restaurant. Kaylin was rushed to the hospital, where she passed away from her injuries just days after her 5-year-old son's funeral.
A lot of people that are, of course, reacting today, including Council Member Pastor Pastor Kenneth Lee. He, among a lot of people in this community, are hurting and are reacting after such a tragic loss in this community, which adds on, again, as Maria pointed out at the top of the hour, an uptick in violence in this city. It's the city's fourth homicide in the last 6 days. This time, loved ones are mourning the loss of 32-year-old Kaylin Davidson.
When you get that call that a loved one is dead, or that a loved one is at the hospital, that a tragedy has happened, it's a lot of emotion.
It comes after the South Bend mother was shot outside a restaurant in the heart of downtown last night. Davidson made it to the hospital, but did not survive. There by her loved one's side, Councilman Pastor Kenneth Lee.
To get that call and to be there on the scene and to comfort those individuals. This is a tragedy for our city because violence is a disease.
Even more heartbreaking, Lee says this is the second death in the family in the last 2 weeks. The first death, believe it or not, Davidson's 5-year-old son, Kyler.
In the last hour, we've learned more about 2 children involved in a shooting Saturday night in South Bend.
You may remember him, but little Kyler was shot after an accidental shooting in South Bend back on May 1st and then died 3 days later. His funeral, led by Pastor Lee, just 6 days ago.
They've had 3 tragedies. 3 tragedies. Kyler, the boy the nephew, and now Kyler's mom. This is tragic.
Lee says the only way the city can move forward is for the community to come together before yet another life is taken to gun violence.
Every person has to look within themselves and ask themselves, am I bitter or am I better? And if I want to be better, then I got to do the work in order to get myself in a better situation, a better mindset, a better life. If we can't live for our children and raise our children, then what else do we have?
Powerful message there from Kenneth Lee, and it's messages like those that we continue to hear from community leaders across the city. And Maria and Lauren, I can't stress enough, it's the fourth homicide in the last 6 days. How many more is it going to take until we see some change? We're just going to have to wait and find out. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Guys, back to you.
Ibrahim Samar live for us from the South Bend Police Department. Ibrahim, thank you.
26-year-old Kimmery Wright was arrested and charged with murder and voluntary manslaughter. Kaylin and Kimmery knew each other, but right now it's unclear what started their argument. The limited information that's out there right now is just that Kaylin walked into the restaurant and punched Kimmery. Her emotions on high from the recent loss of her son, Kyler. Now here's where Kimmery went wrong. She pulled out her weapon and started firing as Kaylin and everybody else ran away. And she picked up those charges because at that point, it was no longer self-defense. The whole thing caught on video. And that decision to take Kaylin's life, it could get her life in prison. One thing this story highlights is a need for gun owners to secure their weapons in their homes, lock them up properly, keep them away from kids. I do want to know who was there with the 5-year-old and the 9-year-old, and how did the 9-year-old kid get access to the weapon? It's certainly something that could have been avoided, just by taking proper safety precautions and making sure that the weapon was secured. Then with Kaylin and Kimmery, modern women today are not really acting like ladies. They're out there popping off on each other, getting into shootouts, and exhibiting behavior that you don't normally see with women. The way they start conflict and handle it, acting out of emotions. And emotional women, they are dangerous. They're liabilities. I don't think Kaylin thought that being emotional would cost her her life. And Kamari's emotional response to run after her with a gun is going to cost her her freedom. And although it's a very unfortunate situation, at least no one else was hurt. That night at that restaurant in downtown South Bend where this occurred, you had a lot of people there. Other people could have been injured. Very sad chain of events. Now you have a family feeling the double impact of sudden loss. They're still mourning 5-year-old Kyler, and now the loss of Kaylin. Sending condolences to Kyler's father, Derek Jackson, his family, as well as Kaylin's family. Remember, gun owners, you have to make sure that you properly secure your weapons. And ladies, your behavior is a liability, not only to yourself, but also to others. Remember, you can always support this channel. The links to Cash App and PayPal, they are below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.